Hello, and welcome to TJ's News 10 Today. Today we are going to talk about the rising power of the president. Let's start from the beginning. The founders envisioned a government in which there were three separate but equal branches: the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. The branches all had separate but equal overlapping powers used to check on one another, the president being in the executive branch. This type of government was designed to ensure that no person or branch had too much power. The problem is that now, the power is not distributed equally, and it's our fault. Let's see how some modern day people feel about the power of the president. So how do you feel about the power of the president?
I think that we're doing all right as a country, but I think that there are some times when the injustices don't balance out, but overall I think we're doing good.
Is we need to take all the power away before Trump becomes president, because a man like Trump doesn't deserve any more power than an acorn.
How do you feel about the power of the president? Does he have too much power, or too little, or just right?
I feel like he has too much power because they put all of this nuclear war stuff and all of their weapons onto one person, and that one person has a decision where we either go into war or we don't. There should be more people, not just one.
So how do you feel about the power of the president? Does he have too much power or too little?
I think it's just right because anything he does has to go through Congress first, and if Congress denies it, then it's not me, I guess.
Okay. How do you feel about the power of the president?
I feel like it's about right where it is because everything that he does has to be approved. So he doesn't do too much, but his voice still does matter.
I don't really care about that stuff. I think it just works fine. As long as the president does his job, I'm cool.
How do you feel about the power of the president? Does he have too much power or too little?
Well, I think that the president has a little bit too much, but like he also has like the right amount in the same way. I think they're like, since he is the president, he's obviously gonna have like some executive powers. But like I don't think he has like a bunch of power. Like he's not like a dictatorship, obviously. But I think he's like some other powers that he's had. He's just gotta skedaddle.
How do you feel about the president's power?
I think the president's power is fine. I'm just more worried about where the president gets his influence to use his power, as well as all of like Congress and the Senate and the House and everybody. It feels like there's a lot of corporations, special interests, people with a lot of money who aren't really elected, but that really control and have the power, even though they're not an elected official.
What is your opinion on the power of the president? Does he have too much power, too little?
I think we just need to get Obama out of office. The dang Obamacare messed me up. Make America great again. Donald Trump 2016.
Okay, so how do you feel about the power of the president? Do you feel like he has too much power, or too little?
I feel like he has just enough, because there's the other branches that kind of check and balance him.
Okay, sweet. How do you feel about the power of the president?
It's just right. The last thing that the president needs is more power. We need to take that power back. Power to the people.
How do you feel about the power of the president?
I feel the president has a good amount of power, not too much, not too little. I think he's doing a fine job. But yeah, no, I think he's doing just fine. I don't think he has over an excessive amount of it. I think it's just right.
How do you feel about the power of the president?
I think the power of the president is good as it is right now because I like how the U.S. is and everything in it.
Okay.
How do you feel about the power of the president?
Okay, so I think it's a tough question, but I do think that the power of the president is limited a lot more than what people maybe realize. So the president obviously has the ability to take care of diplomatic relations, to veto, pass executive orders, but I think really Congress pulls a lot of purse strings on issues that are related to the president because a lot of times partisan politics comes into
So how do you feel about the power of the president? Does he have too much power, or too little, or just right?
I feel like the president has too much power because I feel like they kind of control us, you know?
How do you feel about the power of the president?
The president has enough power that he does what he wants, but I feel like we get kind of overheard sometimes. Like he just kind of steps over what we want. So I feel like people can have more say, but the president as a person has plenty enough.
How do you feel about the power of the president?
I don't think the president has enough power.
How do you feel about the power of the president? How do you feel about the power of the president?
The president has the right amount of power for what they need to do right now. They have never, with the exception of Nixon, really have ever exceeded the power that they've used.
To further understand this topic, I'm bringing in my friend and expert, Chris Nash.
How you doing?
Hello, welcome to the show. It's an honor to have you on the show.
Great to be here.
So, Mr. Nash, can you please explain how the power of the president has changed over time?
Yeah, most certainly. Perhaps the most significant change has been the expansion of the federal bureaucracy.
Really? How so?
You see, the president is the head of the federal bureaucracy. Therefore, he has all the capabilities and powers of the administrative state at his disposal. He sets pollution standards for private industries, regulates labor relations, creates food and product safety standards, and more. When the federal bureaucracy expands, so does the president's power.
I see it. That's a lot of power, isn't it? And how has the power of the president grown because of this? What powers does the president have now that he did not originally have?
Well, as the federal bureaucracy expands, so does the president's influence on media attention. The president can demand media attention at any time and influences the nation's political agenda to further his own political agenda. Not to mention executive orders. An executive order is an order issued by the president that has the effect of a law.
Wow, seems like too much power to me. The president can pretty much create any law that he pleases without the approval of Congress. What happened to checks and balances?
That is the question. We don't know.
Haven't there been laws made in an attempt to take away some of the power from the president?
Yes, there have been, but these laws are often just ignored by the presidents. For instance, the War Powers Act requires the president to notify Congress within 48 hours of commanding armed forces to the military action and forbids armed forces from remaining for more than 60 days without congressional authorization. This law is, however, simply just ignored by the presidents.
Why do presidents do these things? There must certainly be some reasoning.
There is indeed. They do it to please their people. Presidents are often faced with so many expectations that it is hard to meet them all with Congress in the way.
I see. So the president has gained these powers to better fulfill the expectations from the people. It seems almost justifiable, but still, it's too much power to be in the hands of one person. This must be changed.
It should. And another significant problem with the rising power of the president is the State of the Union address. The State of the Union address is a speech in which the president is required to give. The president is to describe how our country is doing, such as describing the current state of government. However, over the time, the president has used this as a platform to discuss legislative policy, what he wants to see and accomplish, and what laws and policy he wants to see go into effect.
Isn't it the legislative branch's issue, though?
Indeed it is.
I'm surprised. This is worse than I thought. We need to address this issue before it becomes a serious problem, if it hasn't already.
Yeah, most definitely it needs to.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. I'll catch you next time on TJ's News 10 Today. I'm TJ, this is Chris Nash, and we're signing off.